This is Rotten Glory. I'm your host, Ty Gorton. Welcome to a future where prisons exist in the cloud. Cheers. This is a concern I think the whole world shares. And depending on where you live, you may be experiencing this to one degree or another already. If you're someone who has spent any amount of time creating content on a platform like YouTube, you're probably familiar with YouTube prison, getting slapped in the face with a 90-day no streaming sentence, typically with almost zero insight as to why. And you can forget about trying to appeal that. There's almost no chance of it. Oftentimes it's not even a human involved. It's an algorithm making a decision, typically out of context on something. And all you can do is write out your 90 days. But what happens when YouTube prison becomes cloud prison? And that's what I want to get into. Before I do that, I want to touch on the whole concept of cancel culture. And this is something that has intensified over the last decade to an absurd level. And when I'm talking about cancel culture, what I'm referring to is this tactic by a certain group of people leveraging SJW or PC politics, and they'll find anything, some obscure statement someone may have made in their past, pull it out of context, create outrage, publicly shame them, get their social media accounts put on lockdown. This is going on all the time, and it's affecting people's lives. And it's has to do with opinions or a political stance. So cancel culture is already this dangerous thing. But what happens when it extends further as we move toward the cloud more and more? What does cancel culture become then? So I want to look at Google Stadia that just launched. The reviews are in, and it's terrible. But the concept here was to take gaming and put it on the cloud. So it's not about the hardware. It's not about owning the physical software. Everything is run on the cloud. And of course, the problem is the lag, latency issues. There's a visual degradation, the graphical quality of the games. The entire, as I understand it, the entire platform, the functionality of it just isn't there. So it wasn't ready, but this is where things are going. And when you're talking about gaming, not that long ago, Blizzard Entertainment banned an esports professional player from a game for making a very simple political statement regarding China. Banned for a year. And so that's a company banning someone for a political view. And this is a professional. He cannot engage in this. And that's a horrifying precedent to see something like that happen. And it's not, yes, of course, gaming and entertainment. We already have examples of this happening. But I'm in graphic design, content creation, and I'm completely reliant on Adobe Creative Cloud for work. What happens if that company decides to cancel me because of some opinion or belief or political idea I have, and I get locked out? This is a huge problem. And we're moving to a place where you won't even be able to buy these products anymore, to own them, to get the software and install them on your computer. It's going to be completely reliant on the cloud. And even if I could in the future buy the physical software, it's because the cloud exists, and the professionals that you work with, the software is constantly being updated to the latest version. So there's a compatibility issue. If you don't have access to the updates and you can't have the latest version of the software, you're going to run into problems. It's just not workable. So this is deeply concerning that everything is moving this direction. And it's not just, more and more people are working from home, doing long distance work, not going into an office. And they're reliant on communication tools, on technology, on software to stay plugged in, to engage in meetings. And if you have a lockdown on your account connected to those tools and resources, you can't work. It removes your ability to survive. This is the kind of control that is being handed to corporate entities who we all know cannot be trusted to treat each individual with respect and care. They have tens of millions of accounts, and the individual gets lost in the shuffle. So when we're talking about cancel culture, in an age where we're moving to the cloud, where more and more of what we do and the things we rely on for day-to-day existence are going to be cloud-based, you can see the problem. Anytime a corporation, anytime their main selling point for something is convenience, that's a red flag. Because what is the real cost of that convenience? It goes well beyond the financial cost. It comes at the cost of control and freedom. Because if we're going to move to a time when everything you do or say can be scrutinized and potentially get you canceled from the cloud, where you will lose access to things that you need for work, for survival, that is not a good place for human beings to be in. That is a position of weakness. And, again, it's not even going to be a human being making these decisions. More than likely, it will be some type of artificial intelligence algorithm that doesn't have the ability to place things in context, to understand the complexities of a situation. It's just a robotic, cold mechanism that makes a decision in the moment and pushes that cancel button and potentially ruins somebody. Devastating impact on their lives. And, where does this leave us? I'm not really sure, because this isn't going to stop. This is the future. The cloud is the future. And we're putting tremendous amounts of control into the hands of corporations that we know cannot be trusted, that we know are political, that will try to enforce their will upon the people. They want that control. It is why it's so appealing for them. And of course, it's going to be touted as a positive by mainstream, by the corporations, by the people that own and pull the strings of societies. Because it is about control. One of the very first things that dies under the weight of SJW PC politics is comedy, is laughter. Nobody can be funny anymore when somebody out there is going to be offended by something. And if that person's outrage can cause an actual reaction, a cancellation to someone, it destroys people's ability to be human, to be natural, to be themselves, to be at ease. It bleeds the fun out of everything. We see it happening across the board. In entertainment mediums, in comedy, everywhere, in day-to-day life. Is that the world we want to live in, where people cannot be people, where we have to constantly be worried that every little thing we say or do could get us canceled from the cloud, where we don't have access to the things we need to survive? That is not the world I want to live in. And I don't know what we can do about it. Short of, as human beings, maybe we just need to learn how to build our own houses. And what I mean by that is, this reliance on corporate entities to provide us with the tools we need to work, for life, for communication. That reliance is removing our control and freedom. It's going to put us on lockdown. And the only way out from under that is to build our own houses, to create our own platforms and software. And it's a tough road. There's no easy path to that. It would take a unified effort from a lot of people, from just a shift in attitude where enough is enough, and we just decide that we don't want to relinquish that level of control to these companies. I don't see any other way that this could be avoided, because this is not the kind of world I want to live in. I don't want cloud prison to be a thing where someone could get canceled at the drop of a hat for an absurd reason. It will create a kind of a reality that is not enjoyable for anyone. So if you like the vid, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel. I greatly appreciate it.